Chapter 5. Val Goes Exploring. Val moved quietly from his cell as he checked down the hallway for any sign of patrolling guards. He tumbled down the hall using various flips and rolls, ducking behind a potted plant, then to a large fern further down the hall. With a quick flip from behind the fern, Val landed beside a full-plate armored statue that rested against the adjacent wall. And this was all completely unnecessary. He could have just walked, but that's our Val for you. He saw a guard that was walking towards him, so he grabbed the helmet off of the statue and threw it at the guard, knocking him out cold. With ninja-like reflexes, Val was beside the collapsing guard in mere seconds. He caught the helmet before it had a chance to clatter to the ground. He grabbed the sword from the fallen guard. Ooh, shiny. I'll just add this to my belt, thank you very much. With that, he continued down the hall, a sense of urgency filling him. Running past a kitchen, he skidded to a stop. Slowly crept back, and he cautiously peered into the large room. It was filled with pots, pans, and other various items that one would expect. The kitchen came complete with one portly chef, busily running about preparing something in a large stockpot. Slowly, Val snuck up to the counter, staying out of the chef's line of sight. Once his back was turned, Val, in much haste, grabbed a chunk of bread and a large cheese wedge. Quickly scarfing down the food, Val glanced back nervously, hoping he wasn't detected. The fatly, robust chef glanced to the very spot that once held the bread and cheese. With a scratch of his head, he resumed fumbling around with his recipe. Val's sense of smell narrowed in on the stockpot of some sort of soup. It smelled like chicken noodle soup. Chicken noodle soup was on his top 10 list of favorite soups. The cook hurried from the kitchen, obviously to grab something that he seemed to have forgotten. Hesitating at first, Val slowly got to his feet. Licking off his fingers, he stole a nervous look around the room. Grabbing the large ladle, he tasted the soup. Savoring the taste, he proceeded with adding some parsley, then taking time to chop up and add celery, carrots, and onions. After that, it was a pinch of salt and a dash of pepper. Testing it again. Did it pass the taste test? Oh yes, it totally passed the test. A+, most definitely. Oh wow, now that's the stuff dreams are made of. That's what daddy likey. After the taste test, he proceeded to fill his gut with as much soup as he possibly could. He heard steps approaching, so he left the kitchen and walked down another hallway, continuing his hunt for Dirk. The chef returned from the cellar, placing a head of cabbage beside the pot and continued slowly stirring the soup. Noticing the evident change in aroma, he bent down to taste it. The change was immediately evident. "Ce grand gouts de soup de wow, quen affaire?" he muttered under his breath in disbelief. It was, after all, his first day on the job. Eventually, Val made his way down several more corridors, coming to a room marked Evidence Locker. "I wonder what's in here," he thought to himself. He pushed the door open, and it revealed a large room that bore several rows of soldier uniforms that closely resembled what the guards wore. Others seemed more elaborate. Searching through the rows, he hunted for one that fit him, one that was just his size. Bingo! He found one that looked about the correct size and donned the uniform. "Just my size," he smiled. He made his way to the back of the room and found a large set of doors. "And behind door number 1, he said as he opened the doors to reveal a vast array of various weapons. Oddly, a large number of them looked elven in design. That thought quickly left his mind as he spotted the equipment belonging to Dirk and himself. Val hesitated at taking Dirk's share of the gear, thinking that he was probably deceased. An ear-piercing shrill scream erupted from somewhere in another part of the castle. The scream echoed down the halls, reverberating off the stone wall into the evidence room. Now that's acoustics. Once again, Val found himself drifting down another lonely hall. Gee, for the size of this place you'd sure expect to find more guards patrolling around here. Where's everybody? Not that I'm complaining, but it's been a while since I seen anyone at all. It was news confirming Dirk's life, or of his death, that drove him onward and kept him searching. But without running into anyone, it was getting harder to guess either way. One could only assume what had happened to the large elf. Frequently the thought of abandoning Dirk moved through his mind, moving on and up to a simple and easy life, but something was holding him back. His only answer seemed to be to continue the search. Val rounded another corner, only this time it wasn't an empty hall that greeted him, but one with a lovely young woman wandering about by her lonesome. He recognized her from somewhere, probably one of the pubs he'd frequent, so he slid up beside her. "Hey baby, let me be your bar of soap," he said in a calm, cool demeanor. Caught off guard, Lorraine turned to strike the soldier that had managed to sneak up beside her, seemingly from out of nowhere. With his quick reflexes, Val gently intersected with her hand, stopping the impending doom of the fierce slap just a hair length from connecting with his face. "Oh, you guards are always so dirty-minded," she said. "Well, excuse me, princess. I was just trying to find my dear old brother when I saw this pretty-looking thing wandering in the halls all by her lonesome," Val said with a pinch of flirt dripping from his lips. "Odd way to find a brother, so what's his name?" "Dirk. His name is Dirk, so have you seen him around?" Dirk's a half-elf, about yay high, long flowing blonde hair, with lots of muscles, lots and lots of muscles. Too much, in fact, but that's beside the point. Well, there he goes again, Val shooting his mouth off and spilling his life out to a total stranger without a care in the world. "Dirk, you mean to tell me that you're his brother? But he's an elf?" She seemed to miss the reference to half-elf. "Yep." "Can you prove this?" she inquired nervously, running her hand through her hair, pulling more curls beside her face. "It doesn't matter anyways, does it? He leapt from the 5th floor a while ago. From what I can gather, he survived, but they moved him to the torture chamber where Denver will be doing what he does best. Earlier on, he overheard some guards talking about what happened to Dirk. Sorry, I forgot to mention that part." With a sigh, she turned and retreated from Val's presence. "Where's the torture chamber?" She stopped and looked back at him. "It's in the basement of the dungeon. There's a stairwell down that hall to your right." Midway through her speech, Val took off running. The dungeon was a place that was at least familiar to him. He was there not too long ago after all.